Hi everyone. Today's short drama has a Korean love movie about a pretty nurse that suffers from her boyfriend. She has to find someone else to replace him. Okay, let's start it. The movie starts with this guy. His name is Jang Hyuk. He is hospitalized because he has hepatitis. For fear of the infection, his parents came to visit him and left very quickly. Even other patients nearby also scared of him. In the hospital, he meets the most beautiful nurse named Yoon. She always takes care of him and explains to other patients that hepatitis type B isn't contagious. Because of her kindness, he have feelings for her. At night, Jang Hyuk walk outside his room to find Yoon. He saw her smoking and they have a small talk. He asks her about the ring on her hand. She say that is her graduation ring. Suddenly, another nurse came and asked, "Who is smoking there?" Yoon blamed Jang Hyuk for smoking. He was dumbfounded. The next day, she came to thank Jang Hyuk for helping her last night. She also enjoyed eating his food. He was very surprised. Sometime at night, when she was very tired, she came to take a rest beside his bed. Jang Hyuk was very happy, but his happy time did not last long. Now his condition is better and he can be discharged from hospital. But he did not want to leave. He told the doctor that he has a sore throat and feeling not well. He wants to stay 2 or 3 weeks more. The doctor angrily said, "You can go home and come in for outpatient treatments later." On the day that he left the hospital, he wanted to see Yoon, but she didn't work that day. He was so upset, even when his parents came to take him home. He can't stop thinking of her, so on the next day, he goes to the hospital again. But this time, he came to get Yoon's phone number. He got only the first 7-digit number because another nurse came. When he is at home, he tries to find another 4-digit number. He made lists of numbers and called them one by one. Finally, he heard the familiar voice. That was Yoon. Jang Hyuk confesses his love to Yoon. Then she invites him to her house because she is home alone. Jang Hyuk quickly went to his parents' room and took his dad's car. This is what happens when a boy hears a girl say "I'm home alone." Jang Hyuk arrived at her house. They sat and talked together. Then they fell asleep, but they didn't do anything serious that night. In the morning, Jang Hyuk wakes up early and prepares a meal for her. He also fixed the light bulb. Yoon was very grateful and cried. Then she kissed him for his kindness. After that, Jang Hyuk often goes to the hospital and takes food for her. He also comes to pick up and drops Yoon from the hospital every day. They became closer and started the relationship. One day, when they are having dinner together, Jang Hyuk notices that she didn't wear her graduation ring. She said she lost it. After that, he goes to Yoon's house again. She invites him to go to Jeju because someone is giving her a vacation package. On the day that they go to Jeju, Yoon bought him a pair of sneakers. Jang Hyuk feels thankful for the gift and promises her that he will lose some weight and go to Jeju with her again next year. He does exercise and runs with his new sneakers and achieves a slim body time after time. Now Jang Hyuk looks very handsome, but his relationship with Yoon was the same and they are living together. He always cooks her breakfast before going to work. Today, Jang Hyuk has a chance to be dispatched to the head office in Seoul. This means that there will be a long way from Incheon to Seoul, and if he performs well, he may be offered a permanent position there. He hurried back to talk with Yoon because it was a great opportunity for him. But Seoul is a bit far from their house. Yoon was a bit hesitant. She knew that would be a long-distance relationship, but she still supported him and let him achieve his dream. After that, he was waiting to pick Yoon after she left work. Yoon was surprised because Jang Hyuk just bought the new car. He promised to drive back from work every day to meet her. He also bought her an engagement ring because she has never worn a ring since she lost her graduation ring. On the first day of work, Jang Hyuk met his competitor. Her name is Yoon. She is also the person who transfers and competes with Jang Hyuk. They are responsible for construction design. When he got back home, he told Yoon about the strange girl who will fight with him for the job in the company. Yoon suggests him to make a good relationship with colleagues in the company. The next day, Jang Hyuk bought a lot of coffee for his colleagues. Suddenly, Yoon came and picked up the coffee and gave it to her. She acts like she is the one who bought the coffee. Jang Hyuk angered her so much, but she said, "I was just helping you." He was so pissed off, he wanted to have his revenge. On the next day, the chairman comes to check the bridge design. She finds the nice creative bridge design. She asks who did it. Yoon hand up and said she was the only one who did it. Suddenly, Jang Hyuk hand up and points out that Yoon's bridge design can't withstand the flood. When they examine it, the bridge fails. He finally gets his revenge. But the chairman is so angry because this project is extremely urgent. So she asked Yoon and Jang Hyuk to work together to finish it as fast as possible. Otherwise, they will be dismissed. Jang Hyuk doesn't help Yoon on the project, but he just annoys her every day. He always gets into a traffic jam on the way home. That's why he always fell asleep without spending much time on Yoon. Seeing Jang Hyuk was very tired. She tells him to stay in Seoul and come back home to meet her on the weekend. When he arrives at work, he sees Yoon still at the company. She doesn't have a bath or dress up. She eats and sleeps at the company. Seeing Yoon act so pitiful, Jang Hyuk decided to help her. The next day, their design was successful and the chairman also accepted. In the office, Jang Hyuk and Yoon seem to be close together. They start spending more time together to catch up to the project deadline. Jang Hyuk started to have less time for Yoon. In the office, he also started to take care of Yoon. They were always working overnight together. Yoon also started to notice that Jang Hyuk spends less and less time for her. She wants to tell something important to him, but she never has that time. One night, when Jang Hyuk came back home, Yoon asks him to throw the garbage, but he doesn't want to do it because he is very tired. They have an argument together and she complains that he doesn't do any housework, or even change the light bulb. Jang Hyuk said he came home to sleep, not to argue with her. Finally, Yoon tells him that she is pregnant. He is surprised and seems not ready for this. After a few days, they decide to abort the baby. He takes Yoon to the clinic. Seeing him not enjoying it, she asks him to wait for her in the car. After returning, Jang Hyuk wants to spend more time with her. He tried to comfort her, but when he received a message from Yoon about the unfinished project, he wants to go to work. Yoon notices his hesitation, and she lets him go to work. One day, when they hang out together, Yoon feels that Jang Hyuk doesn't enjoy his time with her. Even when she shares some food with him, he doesn't want to eat. He doesn't want to walk around, he wants to go back home. Yoon felt sad for that. When they talk in the car, Jang Hyuk accidentally calls her "My pretty Yoon." Yoon is very angry and asks him who is Yoon. "How can you confuse me with her?" He tells her that Yoon is just a coworker. Then they have a lot of arguments. As a result, they break up that night. Jang Hyuk goes back to Seoul and never comes back. A few days later, Jang Hyuk receives a package from Yoon. It is an engagement ring that he gave to her. He doesn't care much and puts the ring to the pen holder. On that day, Jang Hyuk suddenly kisses Yoon. He decides to have a relationship with her and they also spend the night together. While he was walking to work, he got a message that notified him about the Jeju Island trip. It's the travel plan of him and Yoon. When he arrived at the office, he sent a message to Yoon that the ticket to Jeju wasn't cancelled. She can go with someone else if she wants. Finally, the date of the result that they try to complete the project has arrived. The chairman came up and introduced the team that win the competition of the design was team number 3. Then the boss comes and apologizes that none of them will be promoted to be full-time here, but they have been invited to the celebration that night. At the party, Jang Hyuk tells Yoon that he will return to his original branch office at Incheon. Yoon also has to go to study abroad. She also wants Jang Hyuk to stop her, but he doesn't say anything. When he was scrolling through his phone, he saw the status of Yoon that she will go to Jeju Island today. Then he immediately went to the office to take her ring and rushed to the airport. When he arrives at the airport, he sees Yoon is waiting for someone. He quickly gets out of the taxi and runs towards her. Suddenly, he bumps into another guy and falls to the ground. When Yoon sees that, she runs to him, but she comes to pick up the other guy. It turns out that guy is fat Jang Hyuk. Wait, what's going on? Why are there 2 Jang Hyuk? Sorry, it is not my fault, but the director failed. He wants you to be confused. Okay, let's get back again and I will explain to you. It started 1 year and 7 months ago when Yoon and Thin Jang Hyuk first met at the hospital. She fell in love with Thin Jang Hyuk. They started a relationship and Yoon bought him sneakers that were the same as her. They also go to Jeju Island together and Jang Hyuk promises her to come to Jeju every Christmas. After their trip, he has a great opportunity to work in Seoul. That time was also the time that she met fat Jang Hyuk. He asks her about her graduation ring. That ring actually the engagement ring that Thin Jang Hyuk gave to her before going to work in Seoul. After that, Yoon got pregnant. That was the reason she always came to eat fat Jang Hyuk's food. After she just aborted her baby and Jang Hyuk went to work, she felt very lonely and sad. On that day, Fat Jung Hyuk finally finds her phone number and she asks him to come to her house. His action of cooking and changing the light bulb really replaced Thin Jang Hyuk from her heart. When Jang Hyuk can't hang out with her because he is so busy with his work, Fat Jang Hyuk will be there with her. After they break up that night, she accepts the Fat Jang Hyuk. When he told her to go Jeju with someone else, she asks Fat Jang Hyuk to go with her. When she was shopping, she saw the same sneakers with discounts. She bought it for Fat Jang Hyuk. After all of that, Yoon decides to forget her love and start up with Fat Jang Hyuk. Then they continued to go to Jeju trip together. After Yoon dumped him, he decides to come back to Seoul to find Bo Young. He asks Bo Young to give up studying abroad and stay with him, but she rejects him. At the end of the movie, Jang Hyuk loses everything: his love, his job, and his new girl. If you were Yoon, what would you do? Forgive Thin Jang Hyuk or keep continuing with new love? Leave me a comment below. Thank you so much for watching.